The sky above Earth was peaceful as the alien reconnaissance ship slowly approached the planet. Floating silently in the vast expanse of space, its sleek, metallic exterior shimmered in the light of distant stars. The ship, belonging to a technologically advanced alien race, had been sent to Earth to gather intelligence. These aliens were far beyond humans in terms of technology, and their mission was simple: explore Earth, study its primitive life forms, and report back. They had no expectations of finding anything of value. Earth was just another insignificant planet to add to their database of countless worlds already explored. They considered themselves the masters of the galaxy, untouchable by the primitive species they encountered. As the ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, a calm voice echoed through the command center. Atmospheric entry successful. Scanning Earth for life forms. The ship's AI, a sophisticated and self-aware entity, began to map the planet's surface. The results were unimpressive: forests, oceans, and vast stretches of barren land. The life forms detected were unremarkable, not even worth noting. The aliens were confident in their superiority. To them, Earth was nothing more than a curiosity, another planet that would pose no threat. They had visited countless planets, defeated countless species, and Earth seemed like just another stop on their long journey through the galaxy. But things were about to change. As the ship landed on Earth, its cloaking devices activated, rendering the entire vessel invisible to any local wildlife. The team of alien explorers, all equipped with state-of-the-art weapons and advanced AI assistance, disembarked cautiously. They were on unfamiliar ground, but their confidence remained unshaken. The dense forest they found themselves in was nothing like the advanced cities they were used to exploring, but it was still far beneath their level of understanding. They moved forward, scanning their surroundings, unaware of the dangers lurking beneath the surface. It wasn't long before something strange happened. The AI systems that monitored the environment began to pick up irregular readings. Warning: unknown disturbance detected, the AI announced in a calm but urgent voice. The ground beneath their feet began to shake slightly, and the atmosphere felt heavier, more oppressive. The team paused, exchanging wary glances. "Keep your eyes open," the leader of the alien team commanded. "This is not what we expected." Suddenly, the trees around them creaked and swayed in an unnatural way. A strange feeling washed over the aliens, a sense that they were being watched. The AI assistant scanned the area, but it could find nothing out of the ordinary. Still, the disturbance was palpable. The air grew thicker, and the rustling in the trees grew louder. Without warning, one of the soldiers froze. His eyes widened as he looked up at the trees. Something was moving, but it wasn't anything they had ever seen before. The aliens had encountered predators on other planets, but none had prepared them for what was about to happen. The ground erupted beneath them as an enormous predator, a creature unlike anything in the galaxy, lunged out of the underbrush. With a terrifying roar, it crashed into the alien soldier with an immense force, knocking him to the ground. The creature, a massive Earth predator, had evolved to hunt and kill in ways that the aliens couldn't comprehend. Its speed was unmatched, and its strength was far beyond anything the alien soldiers had prepared for. The creature's fangs gleamed in the dim light, and its claws slashed through the air with deadly precision. The alien soldier, though trained for combat, was no match for the predator. His advanced armor barely slowed the creature down as it tore through his defenses with ease. The other members of the team rushed forward, weapons raised, but the creature was faster. It was too powerful, too wild for their technology to control. "Retreat! Retreat!" the leader of the team ordered, his voice full of panic. They had underestimated Earth, and now they were paying the price. The AI systems went into overdrive, trying to calculate an escape route for the aliens, but it was clear that they were no longer in control. Earth was a death world, a planet of dangerous creatures, unpredictable forces, and hostile environments. This was not the safe, uninhabited world they had believed it to be. The aliens scrambled, running through the dense forest as the creature followed them, its eyes glowing with hunger. The AI tried to predict their movements, but the wildlife here adapted faster than their technology could react. The trees closed in around them, and the ground seemed to shift beneath their feet. It was as if the planet itself was alive, and it had decided that the aliens were not welcome. The team's weapons fired in rapid succession, but each shot seemed to miss or have little effect on the beast. It was too fast, too powerful. The creature's claws tore through the undergrowth, and the ground quaked with each step it took. The aliens were no longer the hunters. They were the hunted. The tension reached a fever pitch as the chase continued. The camera zoomed in on the terrified faces of the alien soldiers as they sprinted through the forest, struggling to keep up with the relentless predator. The sound of its footsteps grew louder, more menacing. Each breath they took felt heavier as the fear set in. They had never experienced anything like this before. Their technology, their weapons, their cloaking devices, all were useless in the face of this primal force of nature. In the midst of the chaos, the leader of the alien team realized the truth. Earth was not the primitive, lifeless world they had assumed it to be. This was a planet filled with dangers beyond their understanding, a world that had evolved to survive, no matter the cost. As they stumbled through the forest, the creature closing in on them, the AI assistant finally managed to find a narrow escape route. The aliens raced toward it, but not all of them would make it out. One by one, the soldiers fell behind, their screams echoing through the trees. The leader of the team reached the escape point, breathless and covered in sweat, but his heart pounded in his chest with a mix of fear and awe. They had underestimated Earth, and now they were paying the price. The creature's roar echoed in the distance as the last of the aliens made their way back to the ship. They had learned a valuable lesson. Earth was no ordinary planet. It was a death world, and humanity was far more dangerous than they could have ever imagined. As the ship took off, the camera zoomed out, showing the Earth below, a wild, untamed world that had just shown the aliens their place. The tension in the air was palpable. This was just the beginning. Earth wasn't just a planet. It was a warning. In the dense, untamed wilderness of Earth, where the trees seemed to stretch endlessly into the sky, one man had become more attuned to the land than any other. His name was John Bonner, a survivalist, elite soldier, and master of Earth's wilderness. Bonner knew the terrain like the back of his hand. He had survived through the harshest of environments, learned the secret ways of the forests, and understood the delicate balance between predator and prey. When the aliens had come to Earth, Bonner knew something big was about to unfold. But what he didn't expect was that the aliens would underestimate Earth's natural dangers, and more importantly, that they would underestimate humanity. Bonner had been tracking the aliens for hours, keeping a safe distance while observing their every move. He knew the aliens were technologically superior, and they had the kind of advanced weapons and cloaking devices that made them nearly invisible. But he also knew that Earth's wilderness wasn't a place to mess with, especially for beings who had never faced its dangers before. As he crouched silently behind a cluster of dense bushes, his eyes scanned the foreign figures in the distance. The aliens moved with the confidence of beings who had conquered countless worlds, their high-tech gear glinting under the sunlight. They were unaware of the natural predators surrounding them. Bonner smiled to himself, his instincts telling him that the aliens were too focused on their advanced technology to understand the threats Earth had to offer. They didn't know how to read the land, how to track or predict the unpredictable ways of nature. Bonner, on the other hand, had lived his life surviving in places like this. The more he watched, the more he realized how vulnerable they were. The aliens, with all their technological prowess, were still creatures of their own world, and their world was nothing like Earth. He decided it was time to make his move. Bonner, armed with only basic survival tools and a handmade EMP device, began to set his plan into motion. He was far from the best-equipped soldier in the galaxy, but that didn't matter. He had something the aliens didn't: knowledge of Earth's wilderness and an intimate understanding of how to turn even the simplest objects into powerful weapons. He pulled the EMP device from his backpack. It was a simple piece of equipment, constructed from scavenged parts, but it had one important function. It could disable the cloaking devices the aliens relied on. They didn't expect a human to be able to disrupt their technology, but Bonner had been preparing for this day for months. With steady hands, he activated the EMP, sending out a low-frequency pulse that rippled through the air. The alien cloaking devices immediately flickered, then shut off entirely. The aliens froze in surprise, their invisible presence suddenly revealed. They were vulnerable now, bare, exposed, and completely unprepared for an attack. Bonner moved swiftly, his actions silent and precise. He knew that he couldn't afford to make a mistake. The alien soldiers were formidable, but their surprise at the EMP disruption was their weakness. He used that moment of shock to close the distance between himself and the nearest alien. With a quiet but deadly strike, Bonner brought the soldier down without a sound. The alien's body crumpled to the ground in an instant, and Bonner melted back into the shadows, blending seamlessly with the environment. The forest around him seemed to come alive, as if it were responding to his actions. The wind howled, the trees swayed violently, and even the ground beneath him felt more solid, more grounded. Earth's natural forces were on his side, and Bonner knew how to use them to his advantage. Unlike the aliens, who relied on their advanced technology and equipment, Bonner used his environment as a weapon. As he moved through the dense undergrowth, he carefully used the environment to hide his tracks and create traps. The next alien soldier he faced came into view, scanning the area with a confused expression. Bonner waited, watching him carefully. The alien's movements were slow, cautious, something that Bonner had anticipated. Bonner had already set a series of traps along the path. With the alien distracted, Bonner moved silently behind him and triggered a hidden snare trap. The alien was caught, and the snare jerked the soldier off his feet, leaving him vulnerable to Bonner's swift attack. The alien tried to reach for his weapon, but Bonner was faster. Another quick, efficient strike, and the soldier was incapacitated. Bonner didn't take pleasure in killing, but he knew that in this environment, only one could survive. The aliens had invaded his world, and now it was up to him to defend it. But he wasn't just fighting for survival, he was fighting for Earth. He was fighting to show these technologically superior beings that Earth was not the weak, helpless planet they had believed it to be. The visuals around Bonner were breathtaking. The forest, though dark and intimidating, was a beautiful, chaotic mass of life. The trees were ancient, their gnarled branches twisting up into the sky like fingers reaching for something just beyond reach. The animals of the forest, once hidden, now began to move with a new sense of purpose. Bonner could see the wolves in the distance, their eyes gleaming in the darkness as they tracked the aliens. He could hear the rustle of small predators moving quickly through the underbrush. Earth's wildlife was not just there to be observed. It was a living, breathing force, ready to defend its territory. The predators were not the aliens' only enemies. The entire ecosystem was a weapon in its own right. Bonner continued his silent assault, each step measured and calculated. As he moved from one alien to the next, the creatures of Earth seemed to rally behind him. He could almost feel the pulse of the land beneath his feet, urging him forward. The forest was alive, and it had chosen a side. At one point, Bonner saw the aliens struggling to understand what was happening. Their scans and devices were being overwhelmed by the unpredictability of the environment. No eye, no technology could predict the way the forest worked. Earth was chaotic, wild, and powerful, things that no amount of technological advancement could control. It was this unpredictability that Bonner relied on. As he downed another alien soldier, he could see the confusion on the faces of the others. They were beginning to realize that they were not in control anymore. Earth had revealed its true strength, and the aliens had been caught off guard. Bonner, however, was calm. He was used to the wild, used to the dangerous creatures that roamed the forests. This was his home. This was his advantage. Every shot fired from the alien weapons seemed less and less effective. Their weapons were designed for high-tech, high-speed combat, but they weren't designed to deal with the raw, primal forces of Earth's wilderness. As the last alien soldier fell, Bonner stood in the silence of the forest, breathing deeply, his senses sharp. Earth had shown its power, and the invaders had been forced to retreat. The camera zoomed out to show the sprawling wilderness around Bonner, vibrant and wild, a true testament to the planet's untamed power. The battle was over for now, but Bonner knew that this was only the beginning. The aliens had underestimated Earth, and now they had seen its true strength. Bonner, the lone human, had taken down a force far more advanced than anything humanity had ever faced. And the aliens were learning, slowly but surely, that Earth was not a planet to be underestimated. Earth wasn't just a planet. It was a force of nature. Bonner stood still, his breath steady as the last alien soldier, captured and bound, knelt in front of him. The battle had been intense. He had fought hard, using every trick he knew to survive. Now, with the aliens subdued and the wilderness momentarily quiet, Bonner allowed himself a brief moment of victory. But as he gazed down at the alien, the reality of the situation hit him. This wasn't just about one battle. This was about Earth. This was about humanity's survival. The alien's eyes glared at him, filled with defiance, but it was clear that its resistance was waning. Bonner had made sure of that. He activated his AI assistant, a highly advanced program that had been with him through countless missions. The assistant flickered to life, a holographic display of data appearing in the air. Bonner turned to the alien, his voice steady but firm. "Tell me what you know about the others. How many ships are coming?" The alien remained silent, but Bonner could see the hesitation in its eyes. The truth was, it didn't have much left to fight with. Bonner's tactics had been brutal, and the alien knew it. After a few moments of tense silence, the soldier spoke, its voice strained. "They will come. More will follow. But you don't understand. You are nothing. Your planet is nothing." Bonner leaned in, his gaze unshakable. "No, you don't understand. Earth is no ordinary planet. You think your technology can defeat us, but you're wrong. You've come to the wrong place. This isn't some weak, defenseless world. Earth is a death world, and humanity was built to survive in it." The alien laughed weakly, still trying to hold on to its pride. But Bonner wasn't done. He gestured to his AI assistant, and the holographic display shifted, showing a timeline of human history. The screen flickered as it cycled through images of Earth's past, images of great wars, of civilization rising and falling, of humanity adapting to every challenge it had ever faced. As the alien watched, Bonner began to speak. "You see, we've been through hell. From the very beginning, Earth has thrown everything it has at us, and we've survived. We've fought through plagues, natural disasters, and the constant struggle to stay alive. But what you don't understand is that we've learned. Every struggle, every loss, has made us stronger. We are survivors. We are warriors." The AI assistant zoomed in on images of ancient battles, of the rise and fall of civilizations, of the many wars that had shaped humanity. The alien, despite its arrogance, seemed taken aback by the images flashing before its eyes. Humanity's history was filled with hardship and bloodshed, but it was also a history of resilience, of overcoming the impossible. Bonner's voice softened as he continued. "Look at us now. We've taken what Earth gives us and turned it into strength. We've adapted. We've thrived in a world that would break lesser species. And you think you can come here and just take over?" The alien remained silent, but its eyes were no longer filled with defiance. Instead, there was fear, fear of something it had never understood before. The alien had come to Earth expecting an easy conquest, expecting to find a primitive, defenseless world that could be easily dominated. But what it found instead was a planet that fought back, a planet whose inhabitants had learned to adapt to the most brutal conditions imaginable. Bonner's mind drifted back to a time years ago, to a time when he had lost everything. He had been part of a mission during a previous alien invasion, a mission that had gone horribly wrong. He had lost comrades that day, friends he had fought alongside, and it had changed him. The grief, the pain of that loss, was something that never truly left him. As the AI assistant continued to display the images of humanity's battles, Bonner's thoughts turned inward. He could still hear the screams of his fallen comrades in his mind, still feel the weight of their deaths. But now, standing before this alien, that pain had become fuel for something greater. It wasn't just about revenge. It wasn't just about the past. This was about the future. This was about ensuring that Earth, that humanity, would never fall again. The alien shifted uncomfortably, sensing that Bonner's connection to Earth wasn't just about survival. It was personal. Bonner had fought, had bled for the very survival of his species, and that, the alien realized, was something they couldn't understand. "You think you can win," Bonner said, his voice cold but steady. "But you can't, because we are Earth. We are the survivors, and we will never stop fighting." The alien, still bound, said nothing. It was as if it finally understood the truth that had been staring it in the face all along. Earth wasn't just another planet. It was a death world, a place where only the strongest survived. And humanity, though it might have been outmatched in technology, had one thing that no alien race could match: the will to survive. Bonner stood tall, his eyes locked on the alien. He could see the fear in its eyes now. It knew that the story had changed. It knew that it was no longer the hunter, it was the hunted. The alien's defeat wasn't just a loss in a battle. It was a symbol of the reality that Earth, this primitive world, had defeated them. And it was a lesson the alien would never forget. As the alien remained silent, Bonner turned to the AI assistant. "Prepare the message. Let them know we're ready. Let them know Earth is not to be messed with." The AI beeped in acknowledgement, and Bonner turned back to the alien one last time. "You may have the tech, but we have the heart, and that's what makes us unbeatable." The alien soldier said nothing in reply. It couldn't. Bonner had already won. In a world where technology often determined the outcome of battles, Earth had proven that raw willpower and survival instincts could still overcome the odds. Bonner knew this was only the beginning. The invasion was far from over. The aliens would come in greater numbers, with more advanced weapons, and they would try to take Earth again. But Bonner wasn't afraid. He had seen what humanity could do when pushed to its limits, and he knew that, no matter how strong the aliens were, Earth and its people would always rise to the challenge. Because Earth wasn't just a planet. It was a living, breathing force of nature, and humanity was its ultimate defender. As Bonner prepared to send a warning to the alien forces, the camera pulled back, showing the vastness of Earth, the wild forests, the dangerous seas, the towering mountains, all teeming with life. The camera zoomed out further, showing Earth as a glowing orb in the vast expanse of space. It was beautiful, but it was also deadly, and the aliens had made a grave mistake in underestimating it. The truth was clear now. Earth was no ordinary planet. It was a death world, and humanity would fight to protect it, no matter the cost. The alien warship loomed silently in space, its cloaking devices making it invisible to the naked eye. From the Galactic Council's perspective, Earth was a threat that needed to be eradicated. The mission was simple: destroy humanity before they could cause any more damage. The decision was made quickly. The warship, a massive AI-controlled vessel equipped with the most advanced weaponry the Council could muster, was dispatched with one objective in mind: complete annihilation. On Earth, John Bonner and his team were already preparing for what they knew was coming. After their previous encounters with the alien scouts, they had anticipated a larger response. The realization that Earth was not an easy target had spread throughout the galaxy, and now the Council would come in full force. But Bonner wasn't afraid. He had fought on this planet for years, had learned its secrets and its ways, and he was ready for whatever came next. Bonner and his team of survivalists, engineers, and scientists had one advantage the aliens didn't: the deep, untapped power of Earth's natural resources. While the aliens relied on their advanced technology and AI-driven ships, humanity's ingenuity, born from centuries of adapting to a hostile environment, was their greatest strength. They knew how to use Earth's vast array of plants, minerals, and natural forces to create weapons and traps that the aliens couldn't anticipate. The strategy was set. Bonner and his team would use Earth's dense forests, its vast oceans, and its rugged terrain to their advantage. They crafted weapons from rare materials, engineered defensive systems using AI-controlled drones, and even adapted wildlife to act as camouflage and defense mechanisms. The planet itself, once underestimated, would become their weapon. But there was no time to waste. The alien warship was already on its way. As the alien ship entered Earth's atmosphere, its advanced AI system attempted to scan for any signs of human activity, but the planet's dense jungles, towering mountains, and unpredictable weather made it difficult to pinpoint exact locations. The ship, cloaked and nearly invisible, hovered above the surface, its weapon systems primed for attack. It was a waiting game. The AI-controlled ship thought it could outsmart Earth's defenders, but it hadn't yet encountered humanity's resilience. Bonner's team was ready. They had set their trap and waited, concealed in the shadows of the wilderness. Their plan was simple: lure the alien warship into a position where they could use Earth's natural environment to their advantage. The key was to exploit the alien ship's reliance on technology. While the AI systems aboard the ship were highly advanced, they were still vulnerable to the unpredictability of Earth's chaotic environment. As the warship moved closer to the designated target area, Bonner gave the signal. The trap was sprung. Explosions rang out across the jungle, lighting up the sky as drones flew in from all directions. The alien ship's sensors scrambled to process the attack, but it was too late. The humans had already anticipated their every move. In a flash, the warship cloaked itself and tried to reposition, firing a barrage of laser beams into the forest below. But Bonner's team wasn't just fighting back with guns. They had created a series of advanced electromagnetic fields and EMPs designed to interfere with the ship's cloaking system. For the first time, the warship flickered into view. The humans could see it, huge and menacing, but vulnerable. The battle intensified. Bonner's team, though outnumbered and technologically inferior, fought with everything they had. Laser beams lit up the sky, and explosions rocked the ground as the human defenders engaged in close-quarters combat. The aliens had superior weaponry, but the humans were creative. They adapted quickly, using Earth's landscape to create obstacles, hide, and ambush the alien forces. Bonner himself led the charge, coordinating his team with military precision. He knew the terrain better than anyone, using it to their advantage. While the aliens relied on their advanced AI to predict movements and outcomes, they underestimated humanity's ability to think outside the box. The humans didn't need a perfect strategy. They just needed to outsmart their opponents. As the battle raged on, the alien AI systems grew frustrated. Their advanced calculations and predictions couldn't keep up with the chaos of Earth's environment. Every time they thought they had an advantage, the humans adapted and overcame. The aliens were used to controlling every aspect of a battle, but here, on Earth, they were forced to improvise, just like the humans they had come to destroy. Bonner's team was resilient, their morale never wavering despite being outmatched in technology and numbers. The humans fought fiercely, not just for survival, but for their planet. Each victory, no matter how small, was a testament to the strength of the human spirit. They were the underdogs, fighting a battle they were never supposed to win, but every moment was a reminder that they would never give up. One of the most intense moments came when Bonner and his team faced down a group of alien soldiers who had attempted to infiltrate their base. With laser beams whizzing past them, Bonner's team used guerrilla tactics, setting traps, and using the environment to take out the aliens one by one. It was a brutal, up-close fight, but it was also a reminder of why Earth was such a deadly planet. The planet's wildlife, its terrain, and its natural forces were all part of the battle, and they gave the humans an edge that the aliens couldn't foresee. The tide of the battle turned as Bonner's team managed to breach the alien warship's defenses. They planted explosives on the ship's vulnerable engines, causing a massive explosion that sent shockwaves through the surrounding area. The alien ship, crippled and unable to recover, began to descend toward the ground, its cloaking devices failing in the wake of the damage. Bonner's team rushed in, using their remaining resources to finish the job. They moved quickly, planting EMP charges to disable the ship's remaining weapons, and soon, the alien warship was no longer a threat. The battle had been won, but the war was far from over. As the smoke cleared and the dust settled, Bonner looked out over the battlefield. The wreckage of the alien warship smoldered in the distance, a symbol of humanity's resilience. Earth had won this fight, but Bonner knew that the Galactic Council would not give up so easily. More ships would come, more battles would be fought, and the war for Earth's survival was far from over. But for now, the humans had proven something to the galaxy. They had shown that Earth was not a weak, defenseless planet. They had shown that Earth was a death world, a place where only the strongest survived. And no matter how advanced the aliens were, no matter how powerful their technology, humanity would always fight back. The alien counterattack had been defeated, but the real fight was just beginning. The final showdown was unfolding in the skies above Earth, where the remnants of the alien forces clashed with Bonner's human team in a fierce and desperate struggle for survival. The battle had raged for hours, the sound of gunfire and explosions echoing through the air. Humanity had fought hard, holding their ground against the advanced alien forces that had underestimated the planet's resilience. But now, Bonner found himself standing on the precipice of a decision that would define not only the future of Earth, but also his own legacy. The war had escalated to a point where Bonner was faced with an agonizing moral choice. Should he activate a devastating weapon to wipe out the alien threat completely, or should he try to find a peaceful resolution? The weapon in question was a massive orbital strike system, capable of eradicating the alien invaders in a single blow. It was a tool of destruction, and Bonner knew that using it would not only annihilate the aliens but would also cause immense collateral damage. The blast would decimate the surrounding landscape, and countless innocent lives would be lost in the process. Could he justify using such a weapon to save Earth? As Bonner stood at the control panel, his fingers hovering over the activation button, memories of the past few days flooded his mind. He thought of the countless lives lost in the fight, of the friends and allies who had given everything to protect Earth. He thought of the sacrifices made by his team, the bond they had forged in the heat of battle. And he thought of the alien soldiers who had, in some ways, become victims of a war they didn't fully understand. They were just pawns in a larger game, part of a galactic empire that saw Earth as an obstacle to be removed. Bonner's internal struggle was palpable. He was no stranger to war, but this was different. This wasn't just a fight for survival. This was a fight for humanity's future, for the chance to coexist peacefully with the galaxy. Was it worth sacrificing everything just to win? Was there a way to stop the alien invaders without resorting to mass destruction? He looked around at his team, who were gathered in the command center, waiting for his orders. They trusted him, and Bonner knew that whatever decision he made, they would follow him. He had led them through the worst of it, but now, in this final moment, the weight of the world rested squarely on his shoulders. At that moment, a voice broke through the silence. It was one of his closest comrades, Sergeant Ava Williams. She had been with him since the beginning of the war, and they had fought side by side through every battle. She was a fierce warrior, a loyal friend, and someone who understood the gravity of the situation. "Bonner," she said, her voice steady but tinged with sadness. "We've come too far to lose ourselves now. We can't become the monsters we're fighting. There has to be another way." Her words struck Bonner like a thunderclap. He had always known that the true enemy was not just the aliens, but also the darkness that war could bring to a person's soul. It was easy to give in to anger and hatred, to view the aliens as nothing more than faceless enemies to be destroyed. But Ava was right. He couldn't let that happen. Earth's future, humanity's future, depended on more than just survival. It depended on the choices they made now. But just as Bonner began to reconsider his decision, a sudden explosion rocked the command center. The alien forces had launched a final, desperate assault, and the impact sent Bonner and his team flying across the room. They scrambled to their feet, but they were too late to stop the alien bioweapon that had been deployed. The bioweapon was a terrifying creation, an infectious, genetically engineered virus designed to wipe out all human life. It spread rapidly, and Bonner knew that if it was allowed to take hold, Earth would be doomed. This was the aliens' ultimate weapon, the one they had been saving for just such a moment. It was their final answer to humanity's defiance. Bonner's heart pounded in his chest as he watched the infected spores spread across the room. He knew that there was no time to waste. The weapon was too dangerous to leave unchecked, but there was no way to stop it without risking his own life. Without hesitation, Sergeant Williams made the ultimate sacrifice. "Bonner, I'll do it," she said, her voice full of determination. "I'll stop the bioweapon." She didn't wait for a response. With a fierce look in her eyes, she activated the containment procedure, knowing that it would require her to stay behind and ensure the virus didn't escape. In the distance, human ships began to ascend into the sky. It was a sight that filled Bonner with a renewed sense of purpose. Humanity was no longer confined to its planet. The stars were now within reach, and the future held limitless possibilities. The human race was no longer looking up at the stars in wonder, dreaming of what might be. Now they were looking up with determination, prepared to carve their own path through the galaxy. As the human warships began to take off, the camera panned across the horizon, showing the sleek, powerful ships rising into the sky. Each one was a symbol of humanity's newfound strength, a declaration that they were ready for whatever lay ahead. The ships were a reminder that Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a force to be reckoned with. Bonner stood tall, watching as the ships disappeared into the sky. His thoughts were a mixture of reflection and anticipation. They had won the battle, but the war for the galaxy was just beginning. The Galactic Council would no longer see Earth as an easy target. They had learned that humanity could defend itself, that it was no longer a backwater planet that could be easily ignored. Earth was no longer hidden in the shadows of the galaxy. It was now on the map, and the universe would never forget the lessons it had learned. As the camera zoomed in on Bonner, his voice echoed in the stillness of the night, a final declaration that resonated with every person who had fought and sacrificed to defend Earth. "They'll never see us coming," he said, his voice filled with unwavering confidence. The words were a promise to the galaxy, a promise that humanity would never again be caught off guard. The camera pulled back, showing Earth in all its glory, a planet at peace but forever prepared for the next challenge. The stars above shimmered with possibility, and the ships of humanity sailed toward them, ready to face whatever the future held. This was the new dawn for Earth, a new chapter in the story of humanity, a story that would echo across the stars for generations to come. The battle was over, but the war for the future had just begun. Humanity was no longer just a planet in the dark. It was a force that would shape the galaxy, a force that would never again be underestimated. Earth had proven itself, and now, with the stars within reach, it was ready to take its place among the greatest civilizations the universe had ever known. The story of Earth's legacy was just beginning. It was a story of hope, of strength, and of the unyielding power of humanity. And as Bonner and his team looked to the future, they knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, They would face them together, united, strong, and ready for whatever the galaxy had to offer.